Hi, everybody. It is Tip Tuesday. I'm Michelle Thomas, a medical intuitive energy healer, psychic, and transformational coach with Radiant Living and RadiantLivingHLC.com. Hi, it is time for Tip Tuesday. We are talking self-sabotage today. So here's one of those things, right? Self-sabotage is one of the things that everybody, it happens, right? It happens. Give yourself a little grace. It happens. And the thing about it is that I'm going to give you some tips today on ways that you can overcome that self-sabotaging behaviors. So, what is self-sabotage? It really does refer to those beliefs, those behaviors, right, that keep us from achieving our dreams and goals. Again, everyone does it from time to time. It's all part of our human condition. It's just really important that you recognize when it's happening, and then you can really help silence that inner critic and really minimize that saboteur that lives within. Um, Self sabotage are really those thoughts and actions that negatively impact your life. And this can be anything from your job to your relationship. And sabotaging behaviors and thoughts are those that are just out of alignment with your values and your dreams and goals, right? And they're just really self defeating behaviors, really. Here's a few signs that you're engaging in self sabotage. Avoiding situations that maybe take you out of your comfort zone, right? We all love to be in our little warm, cozy cat box. And when we avoid, right, our ego gets involved. And when we try and maybe to push ourselves, we get that fear comes up, right? And we'll start sabotaging our ways. And I'm like, oh, we can't do that, right? Right? It's fear. Negative thoughts, beliefs of self, right? That lack of self-confidence, lack of self-worth. Making excuses or rationalizing bad behavior. I do this all, not all the time. I'm getting better at it, but every now and again you rationalize like stuff, and you're just like, it's okay, it's just for today. So just being aware of that too, right? People pleasing. People pleasing is another thing that we do when we are sabotaging ourselves, right? Because if we're pleasing someone else, right, it's not our fault. When we try and control everything, and this, a lot of times this happens in relationships when you're trying to control another person, and you're, it just leads us to sabotaging ourselves. As well as creating drama for drama's sake, right? Do you guys know any drama queens? The people that just cause a lot of fuss, not necessarily, like that's just unnecessary. So if you are one of those people that creates drama just to create drama, chances are it's a self-sabotaging behavior. Setting the bar too low, right? For those of us who like, it's that fear of success and fear of failure. So you set the bar really low because you know I can do that, right? Instead of pushing yourself beyond the limits of what you could possibly do. And then another way that self-sabotaging behaviors might show up is satisfying your emotional needs through food, drink, shopping, promiscuity, right? So a lot of the stuff we will get in our own way to try and fulfill that like emotional need that's sitting within us, and we just don't know what to do with it. So instead of sitting there and feeling it and figuring out why and what the message is for us, we try and stuff it all down, whether that be through food or drink or shopping. Again, I know that 2020, a lot of us like fell into that emotional shopping, right? A lot of us did, right? So it's okay. Some ways that self-sabotage can show up in our relationships. These are behaviors that push our prospective partner away, right? Whether that be not being vulnerable, right? Fearing abandonment, clinginess, trying to control the other person through manipulation, such as the silent treatment. And these are also, just so you know, interlinked with inner child wounds. So, and some of our self-sabotaging behaviors really do stem from some inner child wounds. So I always highly recommend y'all go and do some inner child healing. And if you're in my membership group, Align with Divine, I have lots of beautiful meditations to help us really tune into our inner child. And because again, a lot of our sabotaging behaviors stem from inner child wounds, just in case you didn't know that. So another way that self-sabotage can show up when it comes to us at work is those that are, again, fear of failure and success, right? We play it safe, right? We feel stuck in our jobs, but we don't do anything to improve our situation, right? Or you're not progressing like you hoped. And so a lot of times we're just like, well, this job is fine. Okay. You might want to look at that, because if your job is not fulfilling you, you might need to like pivot, do something different. Or you can change jobs so frequently because it just doesn't hold your interest, or you get bored easily and you're afraid, like you're just like, oh, I don't want to get boxed in. Like it's that kind of almost being a free spirit to like the nth degree, right? That's a sabotaging behavior as well. So there's five types, right? Five main types of self-sabotage, right? The first one is procrastination, right? And trust me, I am one that I do this sometimes, right? And so we'll procrastinate doing things that we don't like or that might be difficult, or a lot of other reasons, right? But procrastination is one of the top reasons for self-sabotage. Perfectionism, again, inner child wound, folks. Um, Perfectionism, when we try and make things perfect, so we will tinker with something going, it's not perfect yet, I can't put it out yet, I can't put it out yet. But really the fear is, oh my God, well, what if I put this out and people judge me, or they don't like it, or whatever it is, right? So that a lot of times perfectionism is a way that we sabotage ourselves from actually really putting stuff out there. So remember, done is better than perfect. Negative self-talk, right? Oh, I can't possibly do that. I'm not worthy of that. I'm not good enough. I'm not an expert at whatever, right? That negative self-talk. Resistance to change of any kind. So again, our ego likes to throw up those little flags and it's just like, ooh, we don't want to do that. That's hard. Ooh, that might push our boundaries. That might get us out of our comfort zone, right? Resistance to change is another really big one. And poor self-care. And like I just mentioned, right? It's when we are feeding our emotional needs through negative behaviors. Again, that's not self-care. We sometimes think it is. It's like, oh, I'm going to kick back and sit on the couch and not do anything. For sometimes it is self-care, but other times you're sabotaging yourself because you're just avoiding something that needs to happen that you're afraid of doing. All right, so here comes the tips. Everybody ready? Okay. Tips to overcome self-sabotage. Okay, guys, I say this all the time. Awareness. Awareness is key, right? Figuring out where the pattern of self-sabotage affects you in your life. Does it happen when you're avoiding something challenging or something new, right? Does it happen when you're feeling out of your comfort zone? Figuring out where you're engaging in this behavior can help you overcome it. Remember, if you are not aware, you can't clear, right? This goes for a lot of healing things. So really awareness and being honest, right? Being honest with yourself, and not allowing yourself to rationalize and be like, it's fine, it's okay, this bad behavior is fine, it's no big deal. Who's it hurting? You, right? Another great way is to see what it's costing you. What is the impact of not doing what you want to be achieving? Like, what does that cost you in the long run? And this doesn't have to just be monetarily, right? It can be the cost of a failing marriage, putting on another 10 pounds, right? Or just not living your life to the fullest, right? So again, seeing the cost, right? Do a little cost analysis. What is it costing you by like being in this self-sabotaging behavior? I also highly recommend you create some goals. And I did a goal setting mini workshop in my Align with Divine group yesterday, and it was awesome. But again, creating goals and tasks with deadlines. Get accountability from others, right? I'm an externally motivated person, right? So for me, being in, and what that really means is that for me, if I put a deadline, but I don't tell anyone about it, okay. But if I tell someone, hey, by the way, or someone gives me a deadline, oh, I will hit it all day. So I am an externally motivated person. I need to have accountability partners. I know this about myself, right? So I highly recommend that you figure out, one, how you're motivated, but to-do lists, they can be your friend. Recognize how these goals will change your life and why. Why do you want to achieve it? And what will happen if you don't? Again, that cost analysis. Seeing the consequences of failure. Super important. Also, get to the root of the thoughts and the behaviors. Again, I love using why. When you're journaling, and this can go for whether that's an emotion that comes up for you and you're like, why am I feeling this? Like, what is this telling me? What is my body trying to tell me? Right? But evaluate why you're doing these behaviors or having these thoughts. Why are you not succeeding in a certain area of your life? When you figure out the way that you're sabotaging yourself, you can take action to combat them. If you struggle to complete work in a timely manner, if your why is that you don't leave ample time for your work, then block off time on your calendar to specifically work on the project. And for those of us who maybe have a hard time finishing things, or we have a hard time staying focused, the Pomodoro Method, highly recommend that. The Pomodoro Method really breaks your day into like 25-minute increments with 5-minute breaks. And these timed blocks kind of give yourself a sense of urgency. And it really does work to help you get focused for short bursts of time and then giving you a break to sort of celebrate that you finished this. And the Pomodoro Method, you can go Google it. But I really do like using that, especially if I have a lot of things that I need to do and I just really need to stay focused. And you don't want to sit in front of your computer for 8 hours, right? It's not good for you. So sitting in these short bursts of time can help you as well. Create new habits. Our thoughts and behaviors are merely habits. If you can create a new habit, a new neural pathway in your brain, you can change these habits. And I'm going to say it takes 21 days to create a new habit. And change it in small ways. Take baby steps. You don't have to go, I'm going to change my life 180 degrees by tomorrow. No. Create small, bite-sized pieces that you can actually achieve. And then once you've achieved it, you move on and you create a larger goal. It's kind of like when people are trying to train for a marathon. They don't go out and run 26 miles on the first day, right? So you create shorter, bite-sized pieces and then exponentially grow them as you get comfortable with that new habit. Know your strengths. When do you feel the most productive? Like, what do you love doing? When do you absolutely feel your best? Schedule the work that you need to do that's challenging or that you have a hard time finishing when you are feeling the best, right? We all have cycles, right? We all have circadian rhythms of when we are awake and alive and really functioning at our very peak level, right? And when you can do the work that is the most challenging during those periods of time, you can get out of some of this self-sabotage because your body is already ready to go, right? Make friends with your inner critic and your ego, right? Our ego loves to throw her opinion around. And so make sure that when you're trying to make big changes, tune into your ego. Find out what she's so afraid of. What does she need from you? And again, my friend Gina and I, we're doing a 4-month beta program called the Healing Fast Track, and one of the main monthly topics is all about ego and higher self and all of these beautiful things. And so if you need help, DM me. I'm happy to talk about it. So those are some key tips to help you get out of self-sabotage. So I would love to hear from you. Like, do any of those tips resonate with you? Do you guys self-sabotage yourself? Because like I said, I know I do in certain ways, but again, I'm aware of it, and so I'm able to really see it, address it at the time, and get back in focus. But I also do a lot of healing. I do a lot of inner child healing. So highly recommend you do that alongside of any kind of self-sabotage work, because often the root of our sabotaging behaviors often lies in our inner child wounds. So thank you guys for watching Tip Tuesday. I love you all. I will see you next week for creating habits that stick. And again, I appreciate y'all for your patience when my family had COVID last week. So I apologize for pushing this out, but I appreciate you guys all watching.